Welcome to Out of the Box with Christine, the podcast for conscious entrepreneurs. Are you willing to step into your greatness? Are you ready to shine? Well, get ready, Truth Seeker. You're in for an amazing ride. And now, here's the host of the show, Christine Blosdale.
Welcome back to Out of the Box with Christine. I am your host, Christine Blosdale, motivational multimedia coach. And today, this week, we're celebrating our 7-year anniversary of Out of the Box with Christine. My guest didn't even know that, but this week marks the 7-year anniversary of Out of the Box with Christine, the podcast for conscious entrepreneurs. And I am super excited to have my guest on today. Her name is Michelle Welch, and she is a highly accomplished human being in so many fields. I don't even know how you have time to do all of this, Michelle, but she is she's an author of many, many books. She's a psychic intuitive business owner of 3 crystal stores in Dallas, Texas. And in addition to that, is an active lawyer practicing criminal and civil law. And if that wasn't enough, she's also a jury selection consultant and grief doula, as well as a mother of 5. And I don't know how you do this, because however you do it, we want it to rub off on us. But welcome to the show, Michelle.
Thank you so much for having me. I just realized, so 7 years, we are in a 7-year now, right now. 2023 is a 7-year. So there's some good synchronicity.
That means good things for the show.
Yeah. 2023, 7 years. It's a very spiritual number, and it's your 7th year. That's great.
Yay!
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can continue.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like this year is going to be very amazing. And even because as a collective, we've been through a little bit.
We've been through a lot.
Yeah.
And I think, I hope we've learned some things, right?
I hope so.
Maybe.
I hope so. So let's dive into, first of all, you have a brand new book that's fresh off the press. It's called Spirits Unveiled, a fresh perspective on angels, guides, ghosts, and more. Tell us about this new book that you've just published just recently.
All right. Thank you for asking me, because it came to me because I really all my life have felt spirits pressing in on me. Like I always say to my husband, don't you feel crowded? It's like crowded up in here. I mean, like I always just feel crowded by all the spirits, so there's all the humans, but then there's all the spirit beings that I've always felt. So when I decided to write the book, I have this belief that not everyone has to agree with me on. And I always say that, like, just take what you want, put a pin in the rest of it if you want to think about it, and throw the rest out if you just totally disagree with me. That's fine. I'm not here to proselytize and change anybody into what mold them into what I think. But it's been my experience that there is not a veil. So they came up with the name. My publisher they just throw me in the deep end when I say something and I believe it. And they go, well, if you really believe it, we're going to put it on the cover of your book, because that's what you're talking about. So I called it Spirits Unveiled, not to take away from anybody's tradition, like the veil is thinning at a certain time. And that can be very ritualistic for a lot of people. But I never saw a veil. I never saw a separation, or I never perceived a veil of a separation between humans and this realm and other realms. So I always was like, what are they talking about? Even growing up in church, when they'd sing like Hark the Herald Angels Sing, and I'd be like, and there are the angels. And, and then I'd get in trouble for saying that. I'd always get sent to my room or get sent, in church, you're in trouble on the way home. So that's what got me to write about it, was to write. I'm pretty vulnerable in this book. For me, it's a little hard, having already told all my judge friends, all my lawyer friends, and being vulnerable, this is the real me. But the funny thing is, Christine, they all went, Oh, that explains you. Now we get you.
Right.
My husband, excuse me, my son Tyler told me that when he came out, um, he said all his friends said to him, and he came out and said, told him, I need to tell y'all something, and that he told him he was gay, and they all go, I am so glad you finally just told us, because now we
Because
understand.
we
Now we
knew.
can just
Right?
we all knew. And so with me, they go, well, we all knew you were looking at something up there when you were picking juries, and you'd look around. And I was like, well, it's a combination of ADHD for me. And yeah,
You
I'm
came
seeing
out as
spirits all over the
as a
place.
psychic intuitive. You came out, which is so
I,
great.
I, I asked my son, I was like, okay, I want to be political. Can I say that? And he's like, oh, you totally came out as a psychic
Absolutely.
intuitive. I mean, it was all over town. Yeah. So, but it was just interesting because they said that it was the same response, though totally different circumstances. Hear me say that, but same response. Like, finally, you told us. But for me, it was like, finally, we kind of sort of can get you, or now they'll stare at me. What's she going to do now? So,
Well, now they're asking
yeah,
they're asking for your advice. Now they're like coming up to you and saying,
constant.
got a big thing happening here. Um,
Yeah,
I
constantly.
curious. Hmm. Curious. I don't know what your experience was of religion as a child. Mine wasn't so super positive, but in church and having the gifts that you have, as are many people who, as children especially, are very connected to source, right? Uh,
Mhm.
I wanted to know, can you talk about your experience growing up in a church? And I don't know what type of church it was. Might have been a very progressive church, but how it was having those gifts and being there, and experiencing, that type of religion at a young age.
It really is a great question. I know people say that, oh, that's a great question, but it really is, for me, a wonderful question. It hits right to the root of who I am and what I've kind of been through, and how I can help other people in the so-called Bible Belt. So what It was a very religious family. My parents are still extremely religious. In fact, my dad started a church and a school with it. To keep it succinct, I will say this: the type of church it would they kind of jumped around before they started a church, but I would call it kind of a Bible church, non-denominational, for lack of a better word. And like, I couldn't watch the show Laverne and Shirley, if y'all remember that show, because at the beginning it said, remember that great song, whatever rules, we're going to break them. When it got to that part, nope, that's not a good show. And I was also raised, you know, don't say you've been off at law school, because that's bragging. And my parents are nice. They're good people. That's just was their beliefs. So no pride, so it almost kind of hurt my self-esteem a little bit. But as far as the giftings, I said I got in trouble a lot. I did. So if I couch things in the way they were supposed to be couched for church, like the gift of prophecy and discernment, like I have a word from the Lord or something. And I'm not making fun of it. I don't make fun of
No, but
religions, but
you
it's my
learned
life
how to navigate those waters as a young one. Yeah.
so much, but not really, because then, kids don't have a filter. So I didn't really totally get it. And so I'd walk up to somebody and say, how kids will go, what's that on your face? And, you're going, be quiet. And my son one time said, you know, you don't need to service that food, because you don't need to eat anything. And I was like, rude. I mean, he's like, yeah, like spank. I don't spank, but felt like, but when I was little, you were sent to your room and you were in big trouble. And what happened was, and I don't think this was your question, but what happened is I found out that, along with my giftings of telling people things that, I shouldn't have said, because I didn't know, like, what's wrong with you have something wrong with your leg. And then they found out a week longer, wait, something's wrong with their leg, but it sounded very offensive. Would move things around when I was very, very angry. And I know people will find this hard to believe, but it's very common. And so my brother would go, please don't send Michelle to my room. for timeout because they think, but it was too much. I wasn't pulling stuff off the wall and throwing the temper tantrum. I was sitting in the middle of the room. And it happens in my office sometimes. If I get really upset, there'll be like a card deck that'll just fall off the shelf, so that's another thing that happened, that they didn't know how to deal with me. So really the best they could do with me would be send me to my room and just and try to keep it as, because I definitely still believe that the way I use my gifts are, not, they're worried that, are they going to see me in heaven? And you know what? One of my good friends said the best thing to me. She said, the good thing, Michelle, and Michelle, this because you see people who have, I don't love the term crossed, but they've because where are they crossing to? I believe they're right here with us, just at a different frequency. But she said, the minute they do, not that we're trying to get them to cross, to pass, but they're going to know. So they're not going to be sad forever with it. And, of course, I just don't try to push anything on them at all. But it's a good question, because it's been a huge part of wanting to honor my family, but yet wanting to honor myself too, and what I believed and what I always had.
Well, and it's having the understanding that even those that don't understand your gift or who you are or who anyone is really,
Right.
their attachment to dogma or their way of life does not need to be yours, but also to forgive them for that and to be understanding. I know when I was very little, I was at a Baptist school, a Southern Baptist school.
Oh yeah.
And I have 7 planets in Scorpio. I am very creative. I am a very happy person. And as a kid, I remember one day, like walking down the hallway, and when you're a kid, you just kind of bop, like you kind of, there's no music playing. You're just like humming to yourself or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just remember like walking down the hallway going, doo, 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 something like that. And a hand grabbed me from out of a classroom, right? Pulled me in and said, "You're dancing, and dancing is the devil's work." And I just remember going, oh, wow, you're that off the mark. Like,
yeah,
and confusing joy. That's why I like gospel. Like, I like going to a Black gospel church, because that to me, singing the gospel music, and that is joy. That is God, right?
Yes, it is.
That is just pure love. But I just remember going, and so I can imagine with your gifts how it could be misconstrued as something evil, right? And for a young one to deal with that, like I just said, I think we're quite as children, we're amazing. We can adjust our it's just incredible. But especially if it's a very strict religious background,
and I would say to any of your listeners and viewers that have children that have the gifts, I think people have progressed so much, but I would say believe them. I mean, really do believe if they say they see something in their room at night, or they say the imaginary friend, we've all heard about that, to just really listen. Don't dismiss your children when they say those things. We think we wouldn't do that as parents, but it's easy to do it. And then you start kind of get worried, like, okay, is there something wrong with this one? Like, is there? Certainly with me, I mean, there were plenty of things that I would say and do that, a parent might be a little worried about. But the more you talk to them, the more and listen, the more you can really help them not go through a lot of the things I went through, which was at the time a lot of fear. And I don't have much fear at all anymore of the beings that I see. I'm not inviting you guys to scare me, just so you know, but I mean, I really don't. I don't. But, I did growing up. I will be very honest with you. I had a lot of fears because I really didn't have anybody, and they didn't have the tools. But now parents do have tools. I mean, even in my book, especially my first book, The Magical Connection, it explains if your child's an empath and they take on the motions of everybody else, and you're like, just get over it. Well, that's not going to help that child. They need more than that to just get over it, right?
Yes.
So I think people, and not just parents, aunts, uncles. I had an aunt that helped me immensely. So it's not just the parents, it's that whole community around that child. So I think it's very important to help children that, I don't want to say have what I have, but it's real, and it's very
Absolutely.
real to that child. Yeah. So
Absolutely. And more, it's interesting because we're in a timeline now that people with your type of gifts, they're helping solve crimes. I mean, police departments
yeah,
and agencies, federal
yeah,
agencies
yeah.
are using folks like yourself to find, because if they have no way of finding somebody, or they've lost track of something, um it's amazing how detailed, and have you done like
Oh yeah.
solving crimes and things like that?
Oh yeah. Yes. As
Wow.
actually in Spirits Unveiled, the second one that we're talking about, I and I'm very, very, very good with my confidentiality, because I worked at the DA's office, right? So, and then I did criminal law when I was 24. I think turned 25 right thereafter. But I worked for the Court of Appeals, then the DA's office in Dallas, and I really knew how investigators viewed most psychics. So I kept my mouth shut pretty much. I would help pick juries. Everybody would say, come down here and help me pick the jury. And I was like, aren't I smart? Really, when it was, I was kind of denying my gifts at that time. So I was just thinking, oh, I'm a brilliant 24-year-old. No, I had a lot of help, right? And so, yes, is the answer. I got permission in Spirits Unveiled to talk about, if someone is from the area, from Texas, they will have heard of this case. And it was on Dateline, I believe. The prosecutor was on there, and I dealt with that case. And I'll say it quickly, and you can read it in the book, but I it's interesting how some of them come to me. The investigators will come to me. I wouldn't recommend just cold calling investigators. It's a shallow grave on the side of the road. They hear that all the time, and they've got to chase down every one of those leads. They know who to come to. But if somebody gets something real, then of course contact them. But so I am contacted. And in this case, I hadn't heard anything about the case because I try to not watch the news. I try to be really clean with my readings. I don't want to know, because then I'm not going to say something if I've seen. I'm like, oh, that's not
Correct.
ethical because I just saw that. So a girl came to get a reading from me about, I think it was her mother and maybe her best friend who had died in a car accident. And I'm not sure how her mother passed. So that's what she came for. All of a sudden I was like, okay, wait, I've just got to stop. I have this, I have one of these. And what I mean by that is there's somebody who's passed or crossed, and they're, in
Trying to get your
school,
attention. Yes.
pick me, teacher, pick me. And I described this young girl. I saw maybe like 23, 25, and went on to describe her. Now, I did not describe her with the color hair that they ended up putting on all the billboards, but it was the color of hair she had most of the time. Okay. It was brown in one, blonde in the other. Can't remember. I go on to tell this girl, who's just not why she came, right? And I go on to tell her, this person she has been killed. And I'm sorry to say this, and I don't even know why I'm telling you, so-and-so who's sitting here, but they're not going to find her anytime soon because she doesn't want to be found. And the reason she doesn't want to be found is her parents have come together to search for her. And her parents I believe they were divorced, but it certainly estranged and didn't get along. And so she saw this all from a completely different than the DA's office, which I knew the DA and very good friends with a lot of the judges. And so I immediately afterwards, I contacted, without giving away the information of the client. The
Correct.
client happened to be on the search party and very good friends with the family. And
Wow.
is that not? And another one, and I gave them correct information, and I mean information that ended up being correct, like where, and that there was more than one person involved. That didn't even come out till way later, that the brother helped I hate this word, but dispose of the body. And but it's all in the book. I don't get to salacious details. I don't want to capitalize on pain. But and there was another one. It was so interesting, Christine. It happened the same way. Somebody came in for a love reading into my office. Like, just, it was I wasn't here. It was a different one in the building. But she sat down across from me. It was like a Sunday, and she's like, "I have got to know about my love life." Okay, it was a love life reading, which I'm kind of like, okay, here we go. And I'm not making fun of them. They're
No,
just not
I
my,
know, I know.
they're not. That's very important in people's lives. They don't want to be lonely, and they want to, and this had not hit the news. She didn't even know about it. So I said, I have to tell you this. There's this cylinder, and it's concrete, and there is something that looks like a frilly, maybe pajama, like nightgown, and it's up in this concrete. And she said, "Let me stop you. I do casework on," and I didn't know this client, first time client, and then she got a phone call, and the news had just broken. She got a phone call, and I had just described, and I could tell you the whole backstory, but it was in Richardson, Texas. But it hadn't been on the news or anything. She happened to come to me for a love reading. And the point I make in the book is not, "Oh, I'm so great." The point I make in the book is that they came to the people that they trusted. So they showed themselves, the people they trusted. Yeah, they probably trusted me too, and then they took advantage of the fact that those people they happen to trust happened to be sitting in front of a trustworthy and legitimate and real psychic medium. So I found that very interesting. And I know that was a long story, but it was a big deal for me. Yeah.
It makes sense, because I know I'm friends with Mitchell Coombs, who's an Australian medium, and he's worked with me on a couple different occasions where I've seen him speaking on stage, and he'll be talking to a mother who's lost her son to suicide, right? And he's talking to her, and he's saying that, your son is he's at peace, he's happy where he is, he loves you, he's saying all these things, and then he goes, oh, he's on stage, he's like, "This woman keeps pestering me."
Yes.
Okay. He's like, hold on. Let me finish with this grieving mother. Right. Yeah. And then he said to, because we were an audience of like 500 people or something.
Right.
And he said, "If the name Dottie means anything to anybody, please hold on and tell her I'll be right with her." Right. And as soon as he said that, as soon as he said that, just tears run down my face, because it's my grandmother's name. And nobody in Australia is called Dorothy or Dottie. That's just not right. So as soon as he said that, and it was, and that's what it was. She was pushing her away. She was an Aries. She was like, "I want to talk to Christine. Let me get in there." So when they find that opening, and that trusted source, would you say they're lining up, or they just coming at you and saying, pestering you, hey, look at me?
It depends. A lot of times it depends on their personality. But a lot of times for me, it's pestering, because I believe it goes back to the trustworthiness of how I will handle them with dignity. It's not like I'm just like, "Oh, I'm spot on. Oh, this is a great, win for me," because it's not about me. It is about, so I do think they really try to get through, but it also depends on the person. Some of them will be really shy and they'll hang back, but that grandmother who never liked how somebody wore their hair, she'll be, and is she not? Are you not going to change your hair? And I'm like, so people think they have just elevated immediately to almost like angel status, like their ego's just totally gone. But it's not. I'm like, she just can't stand how you wear your hair. And they're like, nothing's changed, right? So, and that's just always a great validation, because I also am very big about, it's harder in what you're talking about in a gallery, which I did one New Year's Eve. It's harder because you can't get to as many people if you spend a lot of time with validation. So I say, give me that valid. So I make them rush forward quicker, or I say, if you want to talk, get in line and get in here fast and be loud and be pushy. And
Yeah.
I'll talk to the spirits that way, the loved ones that way, or the animals, companions, which are loved ones.
Absolutely. I
Get
believe that too. Yeah.
just rush up, and be. But then sometimes it's that one just shy, a little bit shy, that's hanging back, and you can feel they are sad in a way. So they're not really. And I don't always get for people who are, if somebody knew they knew they were loved, they still want to hear that. But it's usually the person where I get a lot of, I want so-and-so to know that I love them. A lot of times those are the ones where someone was very critical, or they didn't tell them how much they love them. And that's when it's really moving to me, because of course you still want to hear that when you knew they loved them. But I had a couple of those the other night. I was like, okay, she feels bad about being so critical. And that is so healing.
Absolutely.
It's a healing,
Absolutely. And because on this physical plane, maybe they were dealing with their own vices, grief, trauma. My goodness, we human beings are just, we do some crazy shit to each other.
We do.
And so I think one of the most beautiful healing things about what you do, and for the clients that come to you, is you help resolve those things, especially things that happen when we're children. That healing that can happen when you just hear from a parent maybe who was very troubled, and that you hear from that parent who's crossed over or passed on to the other realm here.
It's fine.
Right? Yeah. The veil on the other side of the veil.
I'm sorry.
But when you actually hear from them and it's them, and how they are sorry, I think that's so powerful. That's so transformative for people.
And they're sometimes hesitant. They're the ones that sometimes are more
hold back.
A little nervous. I'll feel a little like, they'll hold back, to answer your question in a long way. But it's a question that I find so fascinating. And because I sense spirits all the time, and a lot of people will say, okay, well, then you're not advanced. I mean, can hear them. I can know they're saying this. They'll like, well, she's not advanced enough to turn them off if she feels them all the time. No, they're just around all the time. I mean, we were in Vegas, which, if people like Vegas, I do not mean this rude. Okay. And if you're from Vegas, I don't mean this rude, but with what I have as an ability, and I oftentimes in my life didn't feel it was an ability or blessing at all. We went to market not too long ago. Well, it was probably a year ago. And we were walking down that strip thing in Vegas, and this is funny. We were going to, can I say the name of a restaurant?
Of course.
It was a Jimmy Buffett restaurant, which, okay, I like Jimmy Buffett and I like his music, and it's really fun to be a parrot head and everything and go to the things, but I didn't want to eat there.
No, so I was going to say don't eat there.
And well, we do. And
was it a buffet at Jimmy Buffett's buffet?
It was not, but it was like the nacho volcano or something. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat in the room when we get back. But what I'm getting at, so it was crowded. And I just said, I do not like this. And he goes, it's not that crowded even. My husband, I was like, you know who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about all these humans, which I can feel their desperation, a lot of them, but I'm talking about all the beings. Hey, but the great deal was I put up with Jimmy Buffett. We went into the gift shop where we were probably there maybe only 3 hours. I'm kidding, but felt like it. And then I was the winner. I got to go to this really nice, with the red ropes, this jewelry store, this certain brand. And I was like, I won on that one. I'll go to Jimmy Buffett anytime and eat the nacho, what is it called? Volcano. So but yes, walking on that street, it was just like, there are beings of every kind. And I've not met every kind of being that there is. So my book is not an encyclopedia of beings by any means. It's just trying to tell people that I am one, and I believe, a psychic, a medium, whatever you want to call it. And I think mediums and psychics are basically the same thing. It's kind of a pet peeve with me. I believe everybody can do it. And I believe everybody can talk to their loved ones. So I try to give them tools in the book to say, this is how can do it. And if you want to go talk to somebody else, that's fine. But just know you can, on a daily basis, do some things if you want to cultivate relationships with beings that you may not see. And I like to encourage that.
That's so important. And first of all, I just want to say, because I've recognized this in you, your intention in your heart space is so beautiful, because there is no ego. There is no, it's what I'm seeing is like an absolute service for the sake of of service. And so that means a lot to me. You're like already like high up on my list now.
Thank you.
But I understand what you were talking about Vegas, because see, Vegas is also probably for a lot of people who have lived and who have passed to the next dimension. It's a favorite place, or it's got a lot of emotion, right? I know. I had many years ago with my mom and my brother, we had gone to France. He was going to get married there, and we went to not the south of France, but to like some other place that wasn't as picturesque as the south of France. It was not Antibes or Cannes. No. But I remember going to the cathedral, and I walked in, and I got a horrible feeling. Like I looked up, and there was like gargoyles, and it's very dark and damp and dank, but I really felt that really in bad, and it's from the like maybe 15th century. I mean, it's a long time ago, but I felt like really bad stuff went down in there, or on those grounds, and I couldn't be in there, like physically, like I couldn't be in there. I was gonna throw up. That's how intense that was. And whatever energies, spirits, souls that were traveling around there. So I completely get the Vegas thing, and listening to that and understanding that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you were probably very correct to remove yourself at that time from that situation, because you sensing all those things, that's in my opinion, that's a bit of a warning to us. I do say in my book, if there's something in your home, I have a phrase, and I'm not applying it to your situation, but it made me think of it. I have a phrase, engage before you sage. Now, let me explain. If my poor son, I have a lot of kids, but I'm talking about my oldest, because he's always calling me. So he lived in San Francisco for a while. So he'd call and he called several times about the same issue. And he goes, the hangers in my closet are rattling. And I'm like, are y'all having an earthquake? I mean, I'm pretty down to earth, but my first thing isn't, oh, there's a ghost. And I said, but it was an old building. And I said, is there an earthquake? He goes, Mom, I know what an earthquake is. You don't know. I mean, you wouldn't know if I was. And I said, then you need to walk over to that closet, and you need to engage and say, excuse me, why are you here, and what do you want in my home? And if you still have that feeling, then you know what? We need to do some work around that. But you need to ask the question, because they may just need a little help. I have a lot of also compassion, not just for humans that are alive and animals, but for the souls that are here and the beings that are here. That's why I'm not very tolerant of ghost hunters that antagonize disincarnates or ghosts. I am very vocal about it. There are some that I would, if we were talking right now and they came on the show, I'd be like, it's nice to meet you, but I don't really approve of what you do. And I'm not being mean. I just am being protective of the spirits that are tormented by some of these. And my husband's a paranormal, quote unquote ghost hunter, but I've said you need to be respectful. And yeah, some of them are really bad actors, right? But at the same time, let's at least ask what they want. And then if it's like malevolent and this is something we don't want to deal with, but back to you, I feel like that is ages. That's ancient energy you're talking about. It could have been something that just happened. We don't know, but I'm feeling like it was probably accumulation of some things that went down there. And you felt that right away. And it's almost like that fight or flight. It's instinct. And instinct is a very strong form of being psychic. We discount instinct as not being on the spectrum, of psychic knowingness, but it is on the spectrum of psychic knowingness. We're given that for a reason. It's for a warning. Get out, right?
Yes, instinct and intuition are definitely married. That's why I won't go. I've seen they have like ghost tours, or they'll do tours of prisons, and I won't do those things because, first of all, if an entity or if a soul is trapped in there because crazy stuff happens in prisons, it's not Disneyland, right?
No.
And a lot of times that's their last place that they were, right, before they crossed over. I don't need to expose myself to that. Even no matter how much I protect myself before I enter that place. But I don't want to go to places that have pain and suffering, massive amounts.
Right.
I'd rather, go to the beach. I'd rather go somewhere else.
Take me with you. Yeah.
Yes.
It's true. And there's pain in the ocean too, but that we don't quite relate to in the same way. There's been a lot of tortured animal, tortured sea life, but we don't relate to that in the same way as we do. I can feel this the minute I walk in. I feel what I've been in jails and prisons because of who I would represent when I first started. When I was 24. I don't know why anybody would ever have trusted me to defend them at 24, 25, but they did. I'll tell you why, because I tried, because it was my job. And but I will say a lot of that stuff. I can still tell you every detail of those cases. Don't worry, I won't. But of those cases, because they made such an impact on me, and they're very difficult for our empathic soul to process. I do believe in transmuting energy. Energy never goes away. It just changes form. And we can change the form of energy, but it takes a lot of practice. So when we know ourselves well enough to know that something's really going to upset us, why subject ourselves to that if we don't need to?
Exactly.
I mean, Roger's like, okay, we're supposed to go to Egypt. And he's like, and I have never traveled a lot. So I was like, I don't care what part of France you went to. I think that's great. I've never been anywhere. My kids all have. And, but we're supposed to go. And I can't remember what I said, but I was like, I can't remember, but we're supposed to go. And I'm all about, I want new experiences, but if something's going to, in any way, I don't need to. Oh, I know. He wants to do the hot air balloon thing. And I was like, I'm not doing it. That's a fear of mine. And they'll all be like, but you want to ride the roller coaster just one time at Six Flags, not in Egypt. And I'm like, no, I really don't. So, you know what you want to do and what you don't want to do. So why do you have to do it?
Exactly. I love that. She ain't riding on that hot air balloon.
That scares me a lot more than a ghost. I mean, I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
I know, because there's no wings. There's no. Yeah.
I better see an angel holding that hot air balloon up, or I'm out. So.
Oh, I love it. Well, something that you had mentioned about part of the reason why you wrote the book Spirits Unveiled is also to help people tap into to realize that their loved ones are really with them. I know it's hard because you can't pick up the phone, like, per se, and talk to them, but the fact that our loved ones are with us, and when we call to them, right? When we want to call them to them. Can you give our listeners and our viewers that are watching on YouTube, can you give them maybe a few, I don't want to say tips on how to connect with our loved ones, but maybe a few things that they could do to start that connection, to start that communication with someone who's departed?
Yes, I can. So I'll give a few from the book, and I'm going to look at it just so I don't talk
That's
too
all
long.
right, darling. That's all right.
How you can know your loved one is with you, a lot of us have heard some of these, so I'll just say a few. Maybe I'll say some that people haven't thought about. The electricity thing is real. Lights blinking on and off, that's not just a ghost, that can be a loved one, so don't always be scared of it. That's why you want to ask. That can be very real. Wind chimes, y'all know that wind chimes used to be to detect, they used to be inside homes, not on the outside. They would put wind chimes inside homes to detect movement of spirits. Again, doesn't have to be scary. Also, I believe it's really good to find, and let me go to this. Even if you did not do this exercise before, but I would recommend we all do this with our loved ones, our friends, with anybody. And it seems like something you would do with us in your like marriage counselor or your counselor's office. But a little practice I have is to make a blueprint or a plan with your loved one before one of you passes. So you're both, so we're friends, we're best friends now, right? So we're going to make this, or I'd like to be. So we're going to make this plan, and we're going to make a plan for the future of how we would know if we were getting in touch with each other.
Gotcha.
So I give a list. Yeah, I give a list, and because it's not always the cemetery. So I will tell you, I asked my husband, I was like, because we have a song, right? I mean, we have this song. It's always and forever. And I said, so that'd be my song. I'd hear on the radio, and I know it was you. And he said, no, it'd be Slim Shady. And I'm like, what?
Oh, Slim Shady.
What is that? I was like, what is that? And he'll say things just to get me, and I'm like,
yeah.
If you want to get me, you might want to think of something else, because I don't even have any idea about Eminem or whoever or whatever. And he starts laughing, and I've told that, so hopefully that's a appropriate thing to say, because and I'm like, well, mine's always and forever, and my favorite smell, if you smell copper tone, that's me, because I love playing tennis, so the copper tone smell is me. So let me tell you a cool story with it. My friend, we grew up with her from childhood, and I really shouldn't like her because she used to have me eat dog food before I entered her house. And she'd say, okay, there's your treat, and I'd be like, what? And so I whatever, I was a weird child, but so she's a dear friend. She really is. Her mother has had Alzheimer's for quite some time, and she just passed away a couple of weeks ago. I had my friend do this exercise I just talked to y'all about. There's 11 questions that you do together, and she was saying, no, she won't be able to do it. She's not lucid enough, and she was talking a lot about getting upset. Is she going to get to see her husband, who had passed about 15 years ago? She became very lucid. She told stories about where they met, and she was smiling. And then she passed about 2 weeks ago. But what I told my friend is, you keep telling her things that are what you believe. You keep telling her you're going to see him and he'll be waiting for you, which are all the things we're told to say, it's okay if you let go. But what she wanted to do was talk about it on her terms. And that list gave her an opportunity to talk about and to talk about. And she became literally, she was in stage Alzheimer's, and she used the list. So that, to me, I have to fight back tears on it, because that is one of, to me, the most beautiful ways my book has been used, was for that.
I love that. And I know there's several other ways that those are all really powerful. I love that. Yeah. Absolutely. Because these are things that we can do, and we don't, isn't it funny, as humans too, we push away death, the thought of death, talking about death, don't want to talk about it, don't want to do, nope. Unless you've experienced, I've had a near-death experience. And so with that, I've come to believe that it is the most amazing thing in the world. To be connected to everything, to be.
When were you? When was that? I'm sorry for you. I know
it was several years ago.
I'm very curious.
Yeah, it was when I was probably 20, something like that, 21.
Did your psychic knowingness go up? I have found that it usually goes up.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
abilities. Yeah.
So much to the point where that same trip I was in Costa Rica, and
Mm,
what had happened was a miracle, like in a physical miracle. And I
right.
remember at the time I had a boyfriend at the time, and I remember coming
Hmm.
back to it was in water. And when I
Hmm.
came back to the
Oh,
shore
wow.
and I said, "Did you see that?" He looked at me and he said, "I saw it, but I don't want to talk about it."
Oh, wow. Me
And I
chills.
was like, "Well, you're gone." Like,
Yeah. Because I need,
the most amazing thing just happened to me. I should be dead and I'm not. And I was so,
you don't want to talk about
and you
it.
don't want
Yeah.
to talk about it. But that was his way of, he was Catholic, right? And so he was just like, no.
Yeah.
But so much
Mm.
so to the point that for quite a while, everything that I looked at was a powerful message to
Oh, I
me,
believe it.
right?
Hmm.
Like
Yes.
almost an exaggeration of a
Right.
powerful message. Same
Right.
trip, opened up a cabinet to grab a towel, and there was a scorpion. I'm
Mm.
Scorpio. It was a
Hmm.
little like
Yeah.
green scorpion, and I went, oh my god, okay, well let's get him outside because he shouldn't be in the closet here with the
Right.
towels. So I went to get a dustpan, and I was
Hmm.
gonna kind of try and
Yeah.
scoop it and take it out. Right, I was terrified still,
Yeah.
but I was like, yeah.
Right.
And what happened was that it started throwing its tail, thinking that I
Yeah.
was attacking, and I was saying, no, 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 I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to save you, to help you. And the scorpion kept throwing its tail, and it ended up sticking itself in the stomach.
Oh,
And
man.
I watched it, like it convulsed and died.
Right.
And the major message for me was
Yeah.
that because I had some insecurities, and it wasn't jealousy, it was just my own insecurity, right? And I
Right.
said, oh my gosh, I'm going to hurt myself if I keep this, if I continue this type of beating myself up. And here is the universe trying to move me to a different
To help
place,
you.
to move me on, and it was
Yes.
my own self-inflicted wound. So it was amazing. The near-death
It's beautiful.
experience was so amazing. And I've that feeling is unlike anything I've ever experienced.
Mhm. Yeah. And and the psychic knowingness hasn't waned. It's just that you become more familiar to it, with it. I don't think it's, I mean, you don't have that adrenaline rush about it maybe as much as when it actually, and
Right.
you wanted to talk about it. But I believe that the psychic knowingness is all still there, or the ability, that when it ramped up, it's just that you probably become more accustomed to it, so you don't,
Yeah.
and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but that's generally speaking what I see happen. I put in the book Spiritual Unveiled, it's been my experience that people who have had NDEs, uh, or OBs, like out of body experiences, tend to be, and I'm not trying to insult anybody else, but tend to be much more tapped into their psychic knowingness than others. And it's not a competition, but it just happens to be that they are, and they see the world in a different way.
Well,
So it's no
you
surprise.
you do, you see the world in a different
Yeah.
space because you've experienced something that is nobody tells you about and nobody
Right.
prepares you for. And I was very grateful through the whole experience because also I was given a choice.
Hmm.
As it
Yeah.
was happening, I was given a choice. I was told, um, basically, is this okay? Would you like to go this way? And I looked around and I was in paradise. I was in Costa Rica, for crying out loud. I was like, oh
Hmm.
my goodness. And I was connected to everything, the water, the birds, the plants. I was like, this is great. I feel wonderful. Yes. And then it was like a real quick carousel of moments that you you don't think they're special or important. They're not your birthday parties. It's just like you put your hand in a cookie jar one day, and then like all these
Right.
little moments of your life. And then it was like, okay, if this is your decision, this is what's going to happen. And um I saw a video in my mind, or my
Hmm.
soul, of my
Hmm.
mom seeing the news, seeing what happened to me on the news. And my mother had already lost a child at a very young age who had hit their head in the bathtub and died from complications. And the way that I was going to die was hitting my head, in the rocks in the ocean and drowning and, paralyzed, dead, whatever. Right. And I said, oh no, no, I can't go that way. I cannot go that way, because that will kill her, and not just kill her, but it will destroy her soul. And I said, no, I can't. And they were like, are you sure? Said, that's right. I'm sure. And I'm not going to do that. Yeah. And then I was given that choice, and then given, the opportunity. And that was when the miracle really happened. But time stopped, or it slowed down to like an incredible pace. But it's such a beautiful experience. Not that I'm wishing everyone to experience a near-death experience, because it probably could be quite traumatic to many. But I'm not afraid of dying. Right. I'm happy to live, but I'm not afraid of dying.
Right. And I do, and I feel that way too. And I do believe that you're absolutely correct. I have seen since the pandemic, I personally, as a reader, that there definitely has, and I'm sure other people have seen this too, has been a shift in the West, for lack of a better way of putting it, and our willingness to talk about death. Now, we're not there yet, and I'm not saying we always have to talk about it, but at least we're a little healthier in the fact that we know we need to talk about it sometimes, that it's going to happen, and so we need to sometimes, but not in an ethical way in what I do. I don't mean that. I'm just saying in a, have this conversation with somebody. Where would I go to connect with you? Where would I meet you? What song would come on the radio? I can't even think of the 11 things right now, but just anything you can think of, what kind of bird would there be, or animal that I might see? And so we can start having those conversations without somebody going, no, I'm not going to do that, because we can barely get people to do, make wills.
Yes,
so, but
right.
I've seen that people are a little more open to now at least talking about things that, they need to prepare for, at least.
I really do love that. And I think too, especially because my mom has recently passed, and there'll be moments where certain things will happen and I'll know it's her, and I'll just know.
Absolutely.
I'll just know it's her. And same thing with my grandmother, the pushy one. I'll know immediately. But it's so good to have those things like that are mentioned in your book, Spirits Unveiled, that people can do now, and so when that time happens, because listen, the death is inevitable. It's death and taxes, right? We're all gonna go through it. But I love the idea of doing that and preparing for that, so that you can have that communication. And for those that are listening and watching the show, I do wish you that beautiful connection with a loved one. I think it's magnificent. And
I want to tell you, I did a speech not too long ago, and I had people do it, and there were 4 people in the room that came in by themselves. So I asked if they would pair up with one of and 2 of them, boy, they were just talking the whole time. And when I asked at the end for examples, how'd it go? They were the ones raising their hand. They were like, we just met, but this is how we're going to connect. And it was the coolest thing. I mean, they were just talking. They just made a friend, and they were literally going, he's going to be out at his boat at the lake, but I'm going to be doing that. And I can go out to his boat. I know where it is. I know where the slip is, and blah, blah. And they were just kept raising their hands. I was like, these people just met. Give somebody that's at least married a chance to go, or that, brother and sister, but they were just into it. And it was so cool to see. And by the way, when I did the grandmother example, I wasn't talking about your hair. I just want to make sure I clarify that.
No, I wasn't. No,
that was an example.
My grandmother loved every single thing about me.
David, when you brought that, I was just like, I need to clarify that, because I'll worry about that
later.
No,
girl, my grandmother loved everything about me. There's nothing I could do wrong. When I came out to her, she's like, "You stole my cricket, right? You stole my cricket." Yeah. I'm like, "Yeah, grandma."
Yeah, So you knew I wasn't. Okay, but
Yeah,
I wanted to clarify
I
that
knew.
later. I'd be like,
No,
oh,
I
already knew
do.
that.
No, you're lovely. I could talk to you forever and ever and ever.
Oh,
And
too.
I'm so happy to have made a new beautiful friend as well in
Yes.
you, Michelle. Please, you're welcome to come back on the show anytime. And if there's
Thank
anything that
you.
I can do for you, please
Yeah.
let me know. Just reach out because I just think you're amazing. Like I said, I feel your heart, girl, and
Thank you.
and that means a lot. Like I said, you're up on my list there. So
Thank you
how
so
can
much.
people get in touch with you? I know I'm hearing that the audience is saying, give out the website, or how do I reach her? How's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Probably the easiest way is Michelle with 2 L's. So Michelle, Welch. Do y'all have that grape juice over there? Welch grape juice. So MichelleWelch.com. In Australia, do y'all have Welch grape juice?
Yeah, I think
So
so.
I always said that, like the grape juice. So MichelleWelch.com, and they're like, what is she talking about? Like the grape juice? But anyway, MichelleWelch.com is the easiest way.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We'll put the link in the show notes so people could just click on that. And also we'll put a link to your book, Spirits Unveiled, a fresh perspective on angels, guides, ghosts, and more. Thank you again, Michelle, so much. It's just been an absolute pleasure. And again, anytime, you're welcome to come back on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you, wonderful listeners and viewers on YouTube, for tuning in today. You can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the YouTube channel. It's really great because you get notified every time there's a new show. And again, we're celebrating 7 years. So if you want to send me an email, send me a comment about what type of topics you'd like to hear in the 7th year, I'd love to hear them. And if you want, I can even mention your name if you wish, as in an upcoming episode for that topic. So thanks again. For more information on the show, go to outoftheboxwithchristine.com. And for more information on me, you can go to christineblosdale.com. All those links and the links to Michelle and her book and everything are going to be in the show notes, so check it out. All right, until next time, as I always say, remember to think outside that damn box. Bye for now.